Hi, my name is Robin Phillips, and this is The Process from She to Her. The Process from She to Her was founded out of my own wilderness, and that's what brought us here today. I knew I couldn't do it by myself, so I brought a few friends on with me.
Hey, I'm Celia.
Jeff.
John.
I'm Daryl.
Hey, I'm Shauna.
Rock.
Okay, listen, we're gonna touch on some really hard topics. We're gonna find freedom to release, and we're gonna keep digging until we find a solution. Last episode, we talked about insecurities, and now we're gonna touch on the topic, how can a man lead a household if he never had an example to? Let's get into it.
Men?
Well, for me, I'll start off. For me, I didn't have a father in my home. So what I had to, it was trial and error at one point. But I also learned from looking at the fellas in my family, I learned that, hey, this is something I want to do. This may be something I don't.
Yeah.
And, just kind of taking, more so for me, just taking the what not to do is how I learned how to lead my family, how I know that I want to do it because I learned what not to do from them.
It's like a
some
ram
of
in
those
a bush.
things that you didn't want to do.
Well, like some of my family members I saw may have put their hands on their wife and also not have, like when the kids would have something, they just wouldn't be there for them. They wouldn't support them as far as sports events or if they're in the band or something, they wouldn't come and do that. So all those things are the things that I implemented in my leading my family. Like, I mean, I do whatever I can to be present for my kids because they mean that much to me because I felt like just watching, the other guys in my household and even myself included, not having a father, not having somebody there to support me in some of the things that I was doing, and it's nothing like, having your dad give you that affirmation from another man saying that, hey man, I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you did this, and it just makes you feel good as a young man, especially, and growing up into that.
Let me say this because I'm the fatherless daughter.
Okay.
So as you were speaking about your child or your daughter, I'm the fatherless daughter, and I remember seeking validation from outside men because my father never told me anything. He wasn't in my life. And so that was kind of hard growing up because I didn't know exactly what to look for, and I kind of said, oh, well, I want love, so maybe he's going to give it to me. And then I turned to sex.
Yeah.
I kind of chose without the full example. So now, question, since we're talking about heading the household, and relationship, how do having the lack of fatherhood or an example, how do that affect your relationship? Anybody?
I mean, for me, I had my father, but my parents were divorced. So growing up, the first half of my life, my dad was a drug addict, but he was a functional drug addict. So he would still pick us up. He's the reason that I have my company today. He's the one who got me into construction. So growing up, I had a father, but I didn't have him in the house. So I didn't have nobody that could show me how to treat my mom. I learned that from being raised by a single mother who raised 6 boys, who taught us that this is what a woman's worth is. So when I try to treat a woman away, I try to treat a way that I would want somebody to treat my mother. God rest her soul. So every time I meet a woman, I'm like, look, this is the standard that my mother told me that women are supposed to have. You're not supposed to pump gas. You're not supposed to open your door. These are things that are not a negotiable thing for me. Yeah. Like, this is what I'm going to do, but that's because that's how my mother raised. But I didn't have somebody to show me the actual details of how you actually be in a relationship. That's what my mother told me. So those are just the checklist items that I do. But the relationship part of it, I didn't have. I didn't have. In some parts, it's probably why my first marriage didn't work. Because there were things that I lacked as far as communication skills and how to communicate with a woman properly. It's taken me some therapy and going through things like that to learn those type of things so that I can become a better man for the next person that I'm with.
So therapy is good, right? Therapy is good. People don't like to go to therapy.
Our people.
So I look at me. I was fortunate to. I didn't have my dad, but I had a stepdad. He was great until the point, and then my dad wasn't good until the point. And I think they both helped and hurt because, as a boy, you want your dad in your life.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, even though I got this stepdad, he's doing an amazing job. I still want my pop.
Yeah.
And so now, the type of father I am, the type of husband I am, I take points from both. But then also, since we're talking about insecurities, when I see reflections of the things I didn't like in them, in my own self, like I kind of lash out, or I change, you know, or I act this way, or I think men, you know, I think every man kind of has a problem with anger or aggression at a time, and so I'll show that off, like, you know, I'll be open. My stepfather cheated on my mom, so in the areas where I've been unfaithful, it's like I'll beat myself up about it, but then I probably, you know, I don't know, I probably address it the same way he did. I ain't doing that. I ain't, you know, just get upset, whatever. But then on the back end, like I said, my real dad, he became a really good dude. So now I look at him like gold, like, hey, Doc, I got this going on. How do I do it? How do I navigate life? It builds insecurities, but, you know, it brings them up, brings them down, and that's that dichotomy of life, man. That two examples can be a help and a hurt, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you, once you get older, because I hear a lot of men say, I do not need a father. Once you're at a certain age, do that ever stop? Do you ever stop needing your dad? Or if your dad wasn't present, I hear men say, well, I'm good now because I'm grown. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? I don't understand.
Now, see, for me, I'm affected differently because now I'm 32 years old. My dad's on his 4th marriage, but my little brother's 4. And my dad will say to me, well, we tried again because we weren't able, neither one of us was able to give either of our other kids a 2-parent household.
Well,
now I feel some type of way like you didn't go into marrying my mom expecting, you know, so you're purposely doing something and recreating the wheel saying, well, I want to get it right at least once. Yeah. So you're pretty much telling me you got it wrong. So I got to deal with that. And me and my dad have a really great relationship. You know, I carry his name. My son carries his name. We have a really great relationship to this day because we've grown over time over the years. But when I look at that part of it, it's like, okay, so what are you really trying to say? Like, yeah, like I'm 32 years old and, you know, I'm 28 when my brother was born. Like, and you making babies on purpose? Like, my dad's 60 years old and he got a 4-year-old. You know what I mean? So, like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, so it's good. I see the growth because now he's finally happy and I'm all for that. Yeah. But it's that thing in the back of my mind, like, where was that at when it was our turn?
So do you address the thing in the back of your mind? Because what if that's that one thing that will stop you from being the man you need to be?
I do. I talk to my dad openly about everything.
Good.
Everything in my life. I talk to my dad about everything because he can't judge me based on the person he was when I grew up. Bro, you lost everything you had. You gave up my mom. I've seen you at the lowest points on drugs, high. You can't really judge me because I've seen how you affected my life by your decisions, but I've seen how you've grown. My dad's been clean for 20 years now. So I've seen his growth and I've seen the things that he's went through, so I can learn from his mistakes. So when I'm doing something wrong, I can go to my dad, or if I got an issue in the back of my mind like that, this is how I feel. Because I know myself, if I hold on to that and I harbor that, and that's where my therapy has helped. Like, I can't hold on to that stuff. I got to let it out because that's the only way I move forward and how I grow and become better for my son.
So do you think fathers are necessary? Especially for those that, for me, like me not having one. So how do I know that it's a need there?
I think it's a need, first of all, for me having a daughter. It's a need for her for those same reasons that you mentioned earlier. Like, I try to affirm her all the time and let her know, you know, she's a princess. She look, you have it. You're the prize. You're the prize. You're what people want. So don't sell yourself short. But, you know, to try to just be with it. Man, like I tell her all the time, this is one of the things I will share with you guys. I say to her all the time. She be like, well, I want to put the weave down, do all this. I'm like, look, that's okay. You can be a right now girl or you can be a wife. And what that means, right now, girls, they party it up. They have all the fun they want. But when that guy's ready to settle down, he's not going to pick her because everybody done been with her. He's going to pick the prize, and that'll be you if you hold yourself right. You know what I mean? But when you're talking about fathers, like for me, personally, I didn't meet my father until I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And this is how the conversation went. He came to cut my yard, and I was like, he's like, you good? Like, yeah, I'm good. And I never said anything else.
Yep.
So the resentment in me makes me want to do that much better for my family. You know what I mean? Because he was never there. Now, it was some other situations could have kept him from being with me, but it doesn't matter either way because if anything was to happen with my kids, I'm gonna fight for them. You know, and then I'm gonna let them know that I fought for them. Even if, you know, we have a problem, like my wife and I, we have a problem. I'm gonna let them know that, hey man, I tried to be in your life. I did this. I showed my face. I was there. Your graduation, I was there. You know what I mean? That's why it's so important for me in running my household to be there for my kids and my wife. But for my kids especially because I know how it affected me growing up.
Even the absence of a father can have an effect because I expect way more out of him because of what I didn't have than I probably should out of any man.
Wow.
Because in my eyes, you're going to be better than every man in the world and everything that my dad wasn't. So I hold him to a high standard. And I didn't even have a dad to tell me what that standard should be.
That's good.
So I got a question off of that though. How do you deal with when he falls short to something
I have to check myself.
that he can't live
Yeah.
up to because he never had
I
it?
have to check
because
myself.
Because like you said, you're holding him to a standard
Yeah.
that you didn't have, so you're expecting him to be something, but at the
Right.
same time, he didn't have it.
I've
So,
had to
you know, so
realize
how do you
that I can't make him be something that I want and never had. I had to realize that he didn't have a dad just like I didn't have a father.
Right.
So I can't expect any more. We as women shouldn't expect any more out of men than we can give them to a certain degree. So that takes some time to learn.
But I also think that is room for growth.
Yes.
So even though he did not have it, that doesn't mean that he can't get it.
Right.
Now beating him up because he don't have it, that's a problem. But helping him be aware that he don't have it and he can get it, then that's the jewel to it all. Yes. And that's called growth, because you don't supposed to be with somebody you cannot grow with.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
And I can piggyback off of that. I had my dad in my life, but my parents actually separated when I was 5. They actually could not coexist, and then when I got older, they actually became the best of friends. But my dad was my best friend, and my dad recently passed in October. So losing that has been difficult because I hold my husband to that standard because my dad was like my everything. Like, okay, these are the mistakes he made, these are the things. But then it was like, he's my best friend. I can go to him. I can talk to him about whatever. So I should be able to do that with you now that my dad is gone. And sometimes we may fall. Both of us may fall in that area. So it can bring up insecurities of me getting past that, of saying, okay, I don't have my anchor. Like, you know, physically.
So you're
I
supposed
don't.
to be my
So
replacement.
and then
Right.
if I can't feel like you're my replacement, then I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna hold it, or I'm just gonna not talk about it at all, and I'm just gonna internalize it. And I think that a lot of times we all internalize things when we feel like we can't go to who we have in our life, relationship wise, whoever that may be for you. We can't go to that person, you know, and say, oh, I can unload this on you, because that trust may not be there. And you know, when you lose that trust, you know, that builds up your that can build up insecurity as well, of, oh, that trust is gone. So now my insecurity is up of, oh, I feel like I can't trust anybody like I felt like I could trust this person.
Oh, we're breaking up some good topics for the
Great
future.
topic.
I got a
So
question, Shauna, for you.
Yes.
You said when Daryl said about your list and how you hold him to your husband to certain standards and stuff. So where do your list come from if you have nothing to compare?
From what I didn't
That's
have.
Yeah, so
From
you
what I didn't have. It's like the little girl that lives in a shack. She wants a mansion. She wants to grow up in a mansion with all the beautiful cars because she didn't have it. So because I didn't have a father that was there, that fixed everything that was broke, that paid all the bills, that showed all the love, I expect for him to do that. Not knowing that that's not possible.
Not only that, the list come from what you see outside. You're not oblivious to what it's society, exactly. So society show you things as well. So you grow okay, well, this girl didn't come home walking down the yellow brick road into this shack. She came home to a mansion, and this was provided by her father or her husband. So I want my husband, that when he's here, he's supposed to provide me a mansion. That's how it goes. So we might not get that example from the father, but we get it from what we see in society, in everyday society. So listen, I hope you like what you hear. We're coming back next week, same time, same place. This is The Process. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The Process from She to Her.